and we're not going to take it anymore. When I took this job, I actually had gaps during the credentials and all of that being done, so this isn't going to be as long as some might actually think. I want to talk real quickly about what the Executive Board is doing and has done. The premise that no matter who you are going to be heard, and you have a right to be heard in a respectful, dignified way, and you will treat everyone else the same way. I stand behind that and there is a lot of passion in this room about candidates. I love it. Ron Paul! That passion will be tempered with respect and dignity for the time and energy of everyone else in this room. If there are disruptions or disturbances, they will not be tolerated. Whoever it is, will be asked to sit down one time. If whoever it is chooses not to do that, I will have them removed from this auditorium. Now, to my friends standing in the back, I'm done. We're going to get to you as soon as the credentials report is done, so please hang on. We'll get to you as quick as we can, and we'll fill every seat in here, and then we'll start to line the bleachers with this. So please hang on just for a second. All right. I want to introduce to you now a friend, a brilliant attorney, our next Washington State Attorney General, Reagan Devlin.
All running, and you're all passionate about your candidate, and that is wonderful. And at the end of the day, whomever wins, let's just remember, we are all Republicans, and we have so much more in common together than we do with Barack Obama. Remember that. Now, I'm running for Attorney General right now to succeed Rob McKenna, and
thank you so much. It is so good to be back in Snohomish County, or as I like to think about it, John Coster country, your next congressman. Yeah. I love this county. I carried this county by 12% in 2004, and I carried Snohomish County by 23% in 2008, and that's exactly what we're going to do in 2012 with your help. Like Reagan and like Kim Wyman, your next Secretary of State, like the other Republican candidates, we are spending today crisscrossing the state. From Snohomish County to Clark County to Kittitas County. Every weekend we are out around the state and we are seeing scenes similar to what we're seeing here this morning. Record turnout by Republicans. Can you believe 50,000 Republicans turning out for the Republican caucuses? Incredible, 4 times more. More than turned out in 2008. You know, there's a word to describe what we're seeing among Republicans in Washington State this year. The word is intensity. We have the intensity on our side. We have the intensity that you see when over 50,000 Republicans turn out to help choose the next Republican nominee for president, which is to say, to help choose the next president of the United States. We have over 5,000 turning out in Snohomish County alone. 2,500 people coming here today. That's intensity. And we saw intensity someplace else this week as well. We saw it in the United States Supreme Court. We saw it with 29 states represented, 29 states stepping forward to say that the individual health insurance mandate is unconstitutional and must be struck down. It was, as Reagan has said, not a very good week for the administration. The left was in near panic mode after the oral arguments in the Supreme Court. And I have to say, as one of the attorneys general overseeing that litigation, I was extremely proud of the work that Paul Clement did as our oral advocate. Paul Clement was George W. Bush's Solicitor General. We co-argued my first case in the Supreme Court, where we defeated the Washington Education Association 9-0. He's a great lawyer and a great American. And now we turn our attention to this state and to the future of this state. In Olympia, they're talking about starting a 5th special session. It would be the 5th special session since December of 2010. Yet another sign that Olympia is broken, that Olympia desperately needs new leadership. A Republican majority in the House of Representatives, a Republican majority in the state Senate, and a Republican governor. You know, every week you turn on the news around Thursday and they report the new jobless numbers. And the media says, well, you know, the unemployment rate now is 9%, or it's 8.5%, or it's 8.2%. But you and I know that is not the actual unemployment rate. No. Because that rate doesn't count people who are too proud to take unemployment benefits. Doesn't count people who would rather take a temporary job or a part-time job than take benefits. When you count all the people who are unemployed and looking for work for full-time employment, that number is about 17% in our state today, 15% nationally. And that must end. It must end. Now, what does the party in control of Olympia say we need to do about that? Well, their brilliant idea in 2010, in the middle of the worst recession of our lifetimes, was to impose an income tax on the people of the state. But the people of this state were too smart for that and defeated the income tax 65% to 35%, keeping our state open for business. We know that the only way to reduce unemployment, to make jobs available for our families, for our neighbors, for people we go to church with, for college, the only way to achieve that is to empower the capitalists, the entrepreneurs, the business owners of this state by lowering the cost of doing business and making it possible for them to create jobs. Let me give you an example of how we can do that. We are now one of only 4 states in America which monopolizes workers' comp. One of only 4 states. It's time to break the monopoly and open up workers' comp to competition and lower the cost for employers and employees alike. Number 2, we desperately need regulatory reform in this state. Let me tell you about regulations in Olympia, and all of you business owners and leaders know exactly what I'm talking about. Regulations in Olympia are like my garage at home. See, what happens is, you know, one of the girls come home from college, she'll have all her stuff, she'll say, Dad, where do I put all this stuff? And I say, I don't know, I'm busy, put it in the garage, I'll figure it out later. Marilyn will buy something and bring it home, and the old thing needs to go somewhere, and I say, well, just put it in the garage, we'll deal with it later. So pretty soon my workbench is full, and the area in front of my workbench is full, and the right side of the garage is full, and I'm wondering, will I be able to park my car in the garage tonight? So what do? Exactly what you do. We clean out the garage. The problem with regulations in Olympia is they never clean out the garage, but that is going to change starting in 2013. The second big issue of this election is education, from preschool to graduate school. The party in charge of Olympia has been systematically disinvesting in higher education. They've been taking money away so fast that the UW and WSU alone have lost 50% of their state support over the last 3 years. So we're pricing middle-class kids out of higher education. They can't get into the College of Engineering. They can't get into computer science or other high-demand fields. And then there's the public school system. The public schools in our state have many great principals and great teachers, but also many who are not great, who aren't getting the job done for our schools, for our teachers, for our students. It's an education system that isn't serving our children well. And putting more money into an unreformed system isn't going to work. We need reform of our public education system to get the results we need. Number 3, we must reform state government itself. If we want to free up money to invest in a reformed and innovative public school system, if we want to reinvest in our higher education system, we cannot allow the rest of the state government to grow so fast that it forces the cannibalization of funding for education. And that is exactly what's going to happen. Exactly what's going to happen. So what do we do about this? We change the culture of state government. We change it in the ways that I have transformed the Attorney General's office. You see, in most state agencies, the way people make their living, the way they're evaluated and paid is based strictly on seniority. Whether you work twice as hard as the person sitting next to you or not, you get paid exactly the same. We're going to transform state government the way I've transformed the Attorney General's office. We're going to change it to a culture of high expectations, of accountability, of results, a place where people get paid based on what they do and how well they work, not simply how long they've had their job. And state general government is going to become smaller. It will shrink. Just through attrition alone, we'll be able to shrink it. My office has 15% fewer people in it than 4 years ago. We have fewer people working in our office than we did when I became Attorney General because we are more efficient, we are leaner, we are more productive than ever before, and every agency of state government needs to be transformed in the very same way. So those are the messages this election in this state. The message of reforming state government, reforming and adequately funding our education system for our kids, reducing the cost of creating new jobs, freeing up our business owners, our small businesses, our big companies, all to work together to create more employment. It's a message of jobs, education, and reform. It is the new direction for Washington State. Let's go there together. Thank you very, very much.
Credentials report is being compiled. We're going to start inserting some of our guests in here. They'll be given 5 minutes. I'm actually going to sit here and time it. And we've got some really good candidates up here that would like to introduce themselves to you. The first one I'd like to bring up here is Kim Wyman out of Thurston County, who's running for Secretary of State.
Good morning, Snohomish County Republicans. Is this an exciting morning or what? I'm Kim Wyman, Thurston County Auditor, and it is a pleasure to be here. I think the most exciting thing that I've experienced in the last 3 months is going to Lincoln Day dinners and county conventions across the state, and this is how they all look. People are energized, people are getting fired up and engaged, and I think with the candidates that we have this year, we're going to turn the state around, and I am excited to be a part of that. I'm running for Secretary of State because I spent the last 21 years in the County Auditor's Office down in Thurston, the last 11 as County Auditor.
Thank you, sir. Well, my name is Sharon Hadian, and I am running for governor of the state as a Republican candidate. Find out more about us at Hadian2012.com. Come and visit our table over on the side. It's an honor to be with you. We've been campaigning for 7.5 months now and gaining momentum each and every day. I want to tell you a little bit about my story and why America is so incredibly important to me. I come from Iran. I was born in Iran. And I left there in 1978. We left just before the fall of the government. An oppressive Islamic government came in. And we came to America with my family to seek freedom and to be able to come here and have a nation and its foundational principles that allow me that freedom. Those principles are worth standing for. Those principles are worth saving. By God's grace, this nation afforded me the opportunity not only to become a proud U.S. citizen after waiting 16 years legally to do so, but also to have the opportunity 12 and a half years ago to accept Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. Now, when I left Islam, I became an apostate. And those of you who are familiar with what that means, it means that it carries a death penalty. And so again, America, this nation that affords me the opportunity to stand before you as an apostate and freely speak, those are principles worth saving, right?
Yes.
I left my birth country, I witnessed my birth country lose all of its freedoms. I've come to America, this is my home. And I'm deeply concerned for the freedoms that we're losing in this nation daily. We are on the verge of seeing a dictatorship form in our federal government. And we must stand up now. And we must courageously stand. You know, I've traveled around the country speaking with my company. I have a company that's called the Truth and Love Project. And the reason I named it that is because we must see an end to political correctness that prohibits us, that stops us from speaking the truth and tackling the real issues that we're dealing with. Running for governor, and the theme of our campaign is courageous leadership. I'm running for governor because I believe we need courageous leadership that will recognize not only are we in an economic crisis, but we are in a moral crisis and a national security crisis, and we must deal with root issues. I am running for governor, and I believe we need courageous leadership that will stand on principles before politics. We must put our principles first. I believe in the platform of the Republican Party. That platform is based on truth. But let us in this hour stand on our principles and on our platform. Let us not be embarrassed or ashamed to stand on conservative principles. I believe that we need courageous leadership that can come into our state government and clean house and gut the corruption that is there. We are already putting together a team to work to that end because I believe this is the first principle that must be followed when you come in. You have to clean house. And the advantage that I have is to come from the outside because I don't owe anything to anybody. We can come in and truly clean house. And the very first place that we're going to start is with the over 200 plus boards that the governor appoints. One of those boards is the pharmacy board. A board that with the help of the governor has been going after a small pharmacy in Olympia for the last 5.5 years, trying to force them to sell a drug that violates their right of conscience and their religious freedom.
So we're going to keep the doors open so people can hear, but hang on, and we're checking right now to see what it is. It's a big task with this many people in there. We need to ratify credentials so that we have an accurate and fair representation in this county. And those are the operative words we're going to run by today, is accuracy and fairness. And this county has a reputation for this now. We're going to keep that reputation going. So at this point, we're waiting for credentials. Once credentials is done, we will move to the election of a permanent chair for the convention. So we're thinking about that at this particular moment, who you might like to nominate for that. And then, once that's done, the permanent chair will come up and take my place, and the rest of the convention will be done under the permanent chair. When we go into the legislative district caucuses, they'll be described where you're going to be at. The purpose is to elect your delegates for for the state convention. We have 161. So we went from 840 delegates here, we go to 161. At the state convention, is those people then elect delegates to go to the national convention. There are 43 delegates for Washington State. 3 of those positions are already taken by Kirby Wilbur and the state committee man, the state committee woman, Freddie Simpson, and the state committee man, Jeff Kent, who just sent me a letter last night. So that will happen. Once that's done, and it actually shouldn't take too long, we will reconvene in here. We have a target time to be back in here, and we want to take the platform on. The platform committee will come up and present the platform, and once the platform has been presented, we will take it apart, pretty much piece by piece, and open the floor up for amendments, adjustments that need to be done at that point. Once we pass the platform, we'll have a couple of very short orders of business, and we're done with the convention. But your 2 primary roles, and you must be here. As a delegate, you must be here. You cannot have a proxy. If you are not here, you need to step out to do something. You must ask your alternate to take your place until you return. There are no negotiations over this. Either you're here or your alternate is. Okay, so let's be sure there. So please don't be in a hurry to get out of here. Now, any questions we can ask while waiting for credentials? Yes, sir. The target time, we must be out here by 5 o'clock. And that is our target time. For the credentials committee? As soon as they're done. We're actually missing a half a dozen candidates in here. So I do have one more that I want to introduce to you that came in. Mr. Daniel Miller, who's running for the 2nd CDC. So please welcome Mr. Miller.
Morning.
Mr. Chairman, this is the report of the Credentials Committee. I request that the Legislative District Chair please note the number of delegates I read off for your district. You'll need this number for your district caucuses for the maximum number of ballots that you're allowed to hand out for your voting process. The 1st Legislative District has 233 delegates. The 10th, 78. 21st District, 185. The 32nd District has 46 delegates. The 38th has 176 delegates. The 39th, 206 delegates. And the 44th, 317 delegates. For a total of 1,241 delegates. Mr. Chairman, I move this report of the Credentials Committee be accepted.
We need to entertain a motion that the report be accepted. It's been moved and seconded that this report be
Point of information.
accepted.
If this is passed, do alternates still get seated after?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
If this, Phil Moxley, Local T09, if this is passed, do alternates still get seated afterward?
Only where there is a hole, a gap, and if that delegate leaves for some reason, the alternate will sit.
What's the question?
The question was, do the alternates still get seated? They will only be seated where the delegate is not here, or if the delegate leaves, the alternate will fill in the gap. been moved and seconded.
I also have one more question as far as the delegates.
I also have one other question as far as my count of the delegates. My name was not in the list when I first signed in, but it was once I came inside. And so I want to find out if, in fact, I was counted.
I'll repeat the question.
Okay. My name initially was not on the list when we first came in the door. So I went to a second table, they found my name, and then brought me inside where I was issued my credentials. Was your list taken from the list where we were confirmed, or was it taken from out on the table when we first came in the door?
So when you signed in,
Where I actually signed.
The paper where you actually signed in is where we got our numbers.
Thank you.
Seeing nothing else, is Evelyn.
John, I'd like to know if this is the preliminary or the final credentials report.
This is the one and only and final credentials report. And when I finish, the alternates can report to the credentials area to be promoted.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the credentials report. We'll try a voice vote up front. All those in favor of accepting the report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
So this time I'm going to read the names of the seated alternates. These are the alternates that have been promoted. Please stay seated until I'm done reading the names, and then refer to the credentials area to be promoted. Ooh, this is going to take a while.
Minutes here, we got to fill 15, 20 minutes while the credentials report is updated. And we have really good candidates that showed up. James Kellett. James Kellett has been nominated for permanent chair. Are there other nominations? Michelle. Bill Cooper has been nominated. Bill is going to decline the nomination. I have other things I want to do in this convention during the caucuses, and I wouldn't be able to do those things. I appreciate the thought, Michelle, but I have to decline the nomination. Yes, sir. John Fowles? John Fowles has been nominated for the position of permanent chair. Are there any other nominations? Yes. Michelle McIntyre has been nominated for the position of convention chair. Are there other nominations? Yes, sir.
I nominate Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson has been nominated for the position of permanent chair of the convention. Yes, sir. Sam declines the nomination. Are there other nominations for the position of permanent chair? Yes, sir. Brian Seuss has been nominated for the position of permanent chair. Please forgive me while I re-anchor this microphone. Are there any other nominations for the position of permanent chair? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. David Harry has been nominated for the position of permanent chair. Are there other nominations?
It's my understanding that the alternate delegates who have been seated add to the 1,241 who have been acknowledged as seated delegates. We presently do not know the grand total. That's the number that you must use in determining.
It's coming. It's coming.
Please announce it.
To start with, if we have a candidate who gets a majority, that's our chair. So we're going to start with Jim Kellett on the list. All those in favor of Jim Kellett being a permanent chair of the county convention, please signify by saying aye. I think we have a permanent chair at this point. So congratulations to Jim. All right, everybody, slow down. You. I have Michelle first. Yes.
In an election for nomination, usually the names of the nominees are read again, so everybody's clear on who the choices are, and then you have a vote for each candidate.
I heard.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure the rest of the delegates here. My point of order is that when we have an election for anything, you always take a vote for each of the candidates.
Yes!
Secondly, I believe that the names need to be read again so that the whole delegation knows exactly who their choices are before hearing all of them.
Thank you.
Also, I believe that in Robert's rules that the people should be able to speak to their nomination chair. So I believe they should be allowed some time to say something to us so we know who they are. And we actually were in the back of the room. We couldn't hear the names. You know, it wasn't loud enough, so.
Okay. Next. Any, yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to put their names on the screen? Yes!
It is up to the chair at this point because we have no rules to decide whether these candidates will speak. Let me finish. I will defer to this body at this point whether or not you'd like to have these candidates speak for a minute. Yes or no? And we will allow them to come up in order and speak. We will also get the names up on the screen, so I will defer to the body in these things. Jim here. Okay. 60 seconds, please.
Could the rest of the candidates please come out so we can keep it moving?
Did you hear that? The rest of the candidates, please come forward. My name is Jim Kellett. I accept the nomination for permanent chair. A lot of you do know me, some of you don't. My goal in this would be to get us out on time today. I don't want to have us I want to get our business done. The most important thing we have to do today is elect our delegates. The second most important thing is to get our platform approved. That was not done 2 years ago because of delay tactics, and I don't want to have that happen. So again, I would encourage you to vote for me, and I am perfectly okay with a standing vote or whatever you want to do in order to vote. That's fine.
You're next.
My name is John Fowles. I'm the Legislative District Chairman for District 10. And while I appreciate the nomination, I respectfully decline. Thank you.
Michelle McIntyre.
Well, it certainly wasn't ready for this, wasn't prepared. I think the person who nominated me, I don't know who you were, but thank you. I really thought that Bill Cooper would do a much better job. Even when he makes a mistake, he takes the correction well. And I've been at county conventions and state conventions since 2000, every single Republican convention since 2000. And I have seen the actions, the outcome of conventions where the chair has not acted fairly, has not counted the votes fairly, has not followed the rules fairly, and I think I've already demonstrated my respect for others, even who, I'm a Ron Paul supporter, okay, I'll admit that. I also don't appreciate the fact that this Romney-centric unity slate has been designed to shut Paul supporters out when he has the most delegates in 5 of the 7 districts in this county. Anyway, I appreciate your vote. Take care.
Michelle, thanks for the nice words. Brian Suits.
I'll tell you what the game was. I've got no business in front of decent people on a good day, and I'm a newbie in this convention, so I respectfully decline, but thank you.
David Harry.
Hi, my name is David Harry. Thank you for the nomination. I'm very new to this whole process. I live in South Snohomish County. I'm raising 3 children, 3 teenagers right now. Registered investment advisor. I own my own firm. I see a lot of things involved with both our local government, our federal government, that is very concerning. I will do whatever is possible if elected, and I thank you for your time.
I'm thinking this is going to be interesting. So what I want to do is I want to do a standing vote. What that means is per candidate, if you're in favor of Jim or Michelle or David, I'm just going to have you stand up. I'm going to find about 3 people here so we can not only count it once, we're going to count it 3 times. So that we're ratified and we have the numbers accurate here. Yes, sir.
I'm in a wheelchair. I object to this.
Stick your hand up. That's a great point. If you are in a wheelchair, stick your hand up. Yes, sir.
What about the people that are left standing without chairs?
Raise your hand. Thanks. Good point. All right. At this point. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Can we clear the floor of all people who are not delegates?
Stan, that's a good point. If you are not a delegate, can I please impose on you to move out of the room so we get an accurate vote count? We have delegates out on the side. Okay, so please.
Can you announce those who are counting the votes?
Yes. The counters will be Gary Pagan, Rebecca Weigel, Emily Vanderbilt. They're going to count everybody each. And we got to make sure that those numbers add up. If they don't, we're going to do it over. Yes, sir.
Something about going into different groups?
Please, I can't hear these.
That's after this.
Raise our hands from our seats.
Raise your hand for your seat.
Seats, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Raise your hand with your credentials so we make sure that we're doing this fairly.
Wait,
right?
what?
I'm just waiting for the numbers right now.
Did you have a question? Point of order.
I know you don't have the grand total of the number of people here. I was wondering if we could go now and you can check it later at the same time to see if it
At this point, please sit down. And by a show of hands with your credential in it, if you vote for Jim Kellett, please raise your hand and keep it up. Please let these guys do their job.
You're getting very sleepy. Your arm is getting tired. Look at that. There's no blood left in your body. You must go to sleep now. Get out of the shot.
We have 1,241 delegates. We need 622 to be a majority.
Just threw the counter ball out.
I think we could please allow the alternates back in the vote. You're going to The actual numbers say at 12:41 we have a convention chair. I'm ready.
Thank you, Michelle and David, for willing to serve, and for those also that have been nominated. I congratulate you that you got nominated. Appreciate that you want to move things forward. So let's get started. We've got to get into the actual business of the convention at this point. So a couple of housekeeping things very quickly to start off with. I'm going to have Iris Lilly be our permanent secretary for the convention, and I'm going to ask Jack Richardson to serve as our parliamentarian. So if Jack would please come up. Also, I want to remind people, if you have your cell phones, please put them on mute or vibrate, however you want. We don't want cell phones going off during the meeting. So that said, let me lay out some expectations here. First off, we are here to elect delegates to the state convention and to approve a platform. It is now 12:25. We have an obligation to try to be out of here by 5 o'clock this evening. I still believe we can get our business done. I want to ask everybody that's here that you be civil and respectful of each other. There's a lot of issues. I want to let you know at the outset that I have no real preference for any of the 4 presidential candidates at this point. I am caucusing for one of them, but I don't want to have it said that I am not supporting somebody. I actually like a lot of what each one of the candidates brings to the table, and I do enjoy the debate that is going on because I think both all 4 candidates, Mitt Romney, Ron Paul, Rick Santorum, and Newt Gingrich, are bringing some really good ideas to the table to deal with the problems that our country faces. So again, I want to remind you to be civil and respectful of each other. You don't have to be civil and respectful of the chair. I seated delegates, delegates that are credentialed with a blue badge, are able to vote, and only delegates, credentialed delegates, may address the chair. Alternates may not, guests may not. And I want to remind the guests and the alternates that during any time we're in convention, that they are to remain quiet. Any outbursts or disruptions that are delaying the business of this convention, I will ask you to refrain. If you refuse to refrain, you will be asked to leave. And if you refuse to leave, you will be escorted out by the Sergeant at Arms. Please identify your name and the precinct that you're from. Hold on. Let's get the mic.
Teresa Moats, Jim Creek.
Okay.
Seated delegates have a red line on their
Correct.
socket. It doesn't matter what color the bag is. That's true.
Alternates that were moved up, did you receive a blue badge?
No.
Okay. I stand corrected. Red. So as long as you have a red badge.
Like so.
And checking with the credentials chair. You're correct. Thank you very much. I just learned something. All right. At this point, we're going to move to our Rules Committee report. I'm going to have the chair of the Rules Committee, Gary Pagan, come up and give that report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Gary Pagan. I was the chair of the Rules Committee. Thank you. I'm Gary Pagan from Park Place Precinct. I was chair of the Rules Committee. And I would like to recognize the other members of the committee at this time. John Carlin, Kevin Morrison, and Billy Brooks Sebastiani. Now, I understand that the proposed rules have been posted on the Snohomish County website since last Saturday, March 24th, and copies have been provided to the delegates at registration. So now, therefore, I move that we adopt the proposed rules for our Snohomish County Republican Convention as presented.
Second. Doesn't require a second. Comes from the committee.
Gary Solomon. It's been moved and seconded that the rules be adopted as presented by the Rules Committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
The ayes have it.
Somebody wants to make an amendment, there was no time to make an amendment or to...
Again, please, you can address the chair, but please identify yourself and your precinct.
It's Michelle St. Clair in the Rose Precinct.
Okay, and you're correct. We will have debate on the amendments for the rules, right?
Thank you.
Is there any debate on the rules? The chair, I recognize it as Bob Williams. Yeah, and if you do have, let me a couple more housekeeping things. It'd be really nice if you do have a question or a motion or something that you want to present. It would be great if you could move down to the front of the aisles here. We have microphone stands. Later on, when we get into the platform, we're going to request people line up to address things on the platform. So the chair recognizes Bob Williams, and please state your name and precinct.
My name is Bob Williams. I'm from Blue Pine Precinct. In the state rules, rule number 28 states that our caucus and convention rules can be made and defined here in our county precincts or in our convention for our state nomination process.
I'm going to be chairing one of the LD caucuses, and I would like to have an orderly, fair, yet not an open-ended process, so I propose the following. I propose that Rule 28, floor nominations allowed, be struck from Article 4, Legislative District Caucuses, Section 1 of the proposed rules. Be it further resolved that Article 4, Section 6 be amended to read as follows. The chairman will call for floor nominations for state delegates and or alternates. At such time as floor nominations equal or exceed the number of delegates seated to be elected, the chair may ask for or shall accept a motion to close nominations as being in order. A motion to close nominations must pass by a 2/3 majority vote of caucus members present. In any case, after the chair has called for nominations 3 times without a response, nominations shall be closed. The secretary shall introduce each state delegate or alternate candidate, who may have 30 seconds to speak if present. Each candidate to speak shall begin their address by stating their name, number on the ballot, and presidential candidate preference. Balloting follows. I, for one, would like to go home before bedtime.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved to have an amendment to Article 4, Section 6, and to strike under Article 4, the Rule 28 request. Does anybody want to speak to the motion? Chair recognizes Gary Pagan.
Mr. Chairman, I'm rising to speak in opposition to this proposed amendment. If I may, the proposed amendment to allow for closing of delegate nominations. I'm sorry. Okay, my name is Gary Pagan from Park Place Precinct, and I rise in opposition to the proposed amendment. The proposed amendment to allow for the closing of nominations upon a 2/3 vote was carefully considered by the Rules Committee and was unanimously rejected. The Rules Committee felt that all delegates should have the right to be nominated and that no delegate should be denied nomination. The existing rule that keeps nominations open until the chair has asked for additional nominations 3 times and received no response is the recommended practice set forth in the state rules, and it has been the standard practice in this county for as long as anyone can remember. And in my case, that's since 1974. Therefore, I respectfully ask that you reject this proposed amendment.
Is there someone who wishes to speak in favor of the amendment? Anyone who wants to speak in favor of the amendment?
I think it's a great amendment. I'd like to say, I'd like to get out of here before. Oh, Bruce Nichols, 38, District Number 54. I think it's smart just to move things along. I think we're pretty much in agreement in the Slates are set. I'd say let's move ahead with the expeditions. This is the best I can do with my time. I think it's a wise thing to go ahead with.
Is there someone else that would like to speak in opposition to the amendment? Michelle St. Pierre, please identify yourself and precinct.
Michelle St. Pierre, the Rose Precinct. I don't think that it takes really very long for the floor nominations. Generally, there's only a few people that want to get nominated. I don't believe that it will cause us a great delay or anything, and so I would speak against this amendment.
Is there anyone else who will speak in support of the amendment? Please come forward in the back here.
the screen so we can see the text? So we know what we're voting on? You've got a computer screen on it, would that be possible?
I'm sorry, can you restate that? I was talking to the sound guy to be sure that everybody could be heard.
Okay, Kelly Richardson, report, voter 20. I'm requesting you post the text of the proposed amendment on the screen so we can see it. It's difficult to hear in the back.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's not going to be possible. I will read the amendment again. Therefore be it resolved that the words Rule 28, floor nominations allowed, be struck from Article 4, Legislative District Caucuses, Section 1 of the proposed rules. Be it further resolved that Article 4, Section 6 be amended to read, the chairman will call for floor nominations for state delegates alternates. At such time as floor nominations equal or exceed the number of delegate seats to be elected, the chair may ask for or shall accept a motion to close nominations as being in order. A motion to close nominations must pass by a 2/3 majority vote of caucus members present. In any case, after the chair has called for nominations 3 times without response, nominations shall be closed. The secretary shall introduce each state delegate and alternate candidate who may have 30 seconds to speak if present. Each candidate to speak shall begin their address by stating their name, number on the ballot, and presidential candidate preference. Balloting follows. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition to the motion?
Michelle McIntyre, Everett 15.
Excuse me, haven't been recommended. Did we get the previous person's question answered? Okay. The chair recognizes Michelle McIntyre.
Again, Michelle McIntyre, Everett 15. I rise to speak against this motion. It actually would be in violation of state party rules that have been submitted to the RNC for a fair election. There are many delegates who wish to be state delegates and were not printed on the ballot and would like to be. It's also consistent with Robert's Rules of Order to call for nominations 3 times for the nomination when been printed on the ballot. So I urge you to vote against it.
If somebody else would like to speak in favor of the motion? No, I recognize the gentleman here, please.
Patrick Howard, Legislative District 1, Fairway Precinct. My understanding from the gentleman that made the motion was that it would be more in conformity with the state rule. It actually sounds like it would expedite the actual district caucuses, so I'm definitely in favor of it.
Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition?
My name is Doug McPherson. I'm from 3 Lakes Precinct. And I would just like to say that I don't think that there's any problem with the rule that has been presented to us now, and I guess it hasn't been for a time. And I'm concerned about this thought that expediency ought to trump the conscience of a person that may arise while they wish to be nominated for a state delegation when they haven't had the chance or know how to fill out to become part of the printed ballot already. And I think that that's wrong.
There's somebody else that would like to speak in favor of the motion. Chair recognizes Doug Ralston.
Doug Ralston, 4 Corners Precinct. I speak in favor of the motion. Under Robert's Rules for Order, you can suspend the rules and do almost anything you want with 2/3 vote. This motion would require in the caucuses, if people want to stop the nomination process and not go on. My name does not appear on the ballot. I want to get nominated to be a delegate to the state convention, and so I will go through that process like other people that want to get nominated. But I believe this way we can prevent, at least in the 44th, where we have 571 delegates, getting 571 people nominated could keep us there till forever to get this process done. What we're supposed to get done today is we're supposed to get people elected, we're supposed to get to the platform, and we're supposed to get out of here by 5 o'clock. And if we continue without any process that cut off nominees that are probably deleterious, we could go on forever.
Please say that again. Question's been called.
Second.
Question's been called and seconded. Okay, Mr. Williams, will you please close? The person that proposed the motion gets to close. The only thing I'd like to mention is the fact that in some of our legislative districts, in one in particular, we have 39 delegates that are going to be elected to the state. Everybody in this room had an opportunity to submit a form to be on the printed ballot. We're still allowing fair access to the ballot through the floor nomination process. So nobody's getting left out if we have a reasonable period to close the nominations. Remember that everybody that is nominated gets to speak for 30 seconds. So we've already got pre-submitted candidates, probably worth 3 to 4 times the number of delegates. So we could have 2 to 3 hours already on the ballot that is going to be allotted to 30-second speeches for their candidacy. So if we keep this open-ended, this is really, really, really going to be a long meeting. All right. It requires 2/3 to close debate. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. The ayes have it. Now we vote on the motion. The motion gets voted on. All those in favor of changing the rules as proposed signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? No.
It's a close one.
The chair is not able to determine the vote. I would like all those in favor of the motion to please stand. I want to read the motion one more time. Therefore be it resolved that the words Rule 28, floor nominations allowed, be struck from Article. The majority of the motion fails. Is there any other additional debate on the rules? Michelle.
The 30-second, in Section 6, where they're saying the candidates have 30 seconds to speak. In order to make things go faster, but also to allow people as much participation as possible, I would like to change that to say that each candidate, I'm just trying to think who word it, to say that the legislative district caucuses should be able just to go ahead and vote rather than have 30 seconds if they want to. Like some of the smaller districts might want to have longer and even shorter on some of the other districts. So, you know, if we could, in our district caucus, decide how long we wanted to have to speak.
So are you making a motion?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's Michelle St. Pierre Rose Precinct. I'm making a motion to allow us to decide in the legislative district caucuses how long the candidates will have to speak.
I second.
Are you able to submit that so that we can read it?
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. We're going to wait for this to be submitted in writing, so just hold on. The chairman will call for floor nominations for state alternates delegates. After nominations have been requested 3 times without response, nominations shall be closed. The legislative district caucuses will decide speech's length. Balloting follows. Everybody got that? So the line that says, the secretary shall introduce each candidate who may have 30 seconds to speak is being struck. And the line that's replacing it is the legislative district caucuses will decide speech's length. Everybody got it? Okay. This is now the property of the body, so it's up to the body to make the decision on this. Is there anyone that wants to speak opposed to this amendment? Russell Johnson.
Mr. Chair, Russell Johnson, Everett 7. Believe it or not, this amendment to the rules was not made in an effort to speed things up. It's made in an effort to slow things down. I don't know about you, but if you want to be here until next year this time, you can go ahead and vote in favor of this rule change. The reality is this would allow individual legislative districts to have an indeterminate amount of time for each delegate to speak. Now, if we had 15 people crowded at a Chuck E. Cheese, it'd be a different story. But we got close to 1,300 people here, and each person giving a speech. If it were 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, we're going to run out of time. We're not going to be able to elect delegates to the state convention, which is the business of this convention, and we're going to be dilatory in our duties. So I ask you to vote no on this dilatory motion.
In support of the... Is in support? Okay.
Kevin Diego, Lowell's district, or precinct, I apologize. With due respect to the previous speaker, this actually would allow any legislative district to vote for no speeches, or as long as they would like speeches. It's allowing the distribution of power to the legislative districts themselves. So you could, in your legislative district, vote for 0 seconds, and you can vote for a minute and a half. Power goes to you.
Is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition? I need an opposition. Right here.
Lance Davis, Precinct 10, Tucson. I believe that having one caucus give someone a minute and the other one only 15 seconds doesn't make, it's not equal for each delegate. It's unfair for one person to be able to speak for an indeterminate amount of time and the other one to be able to speak for a very little amount of time. That's right.
That's right. Anyone wants to speak in support of the amendment? It's right here. No, sorry, identify this first, Chris.
John Batista, does it not speak to what our country is founded on, to true federalism, to allow each body, each precinct, to determine their own fate, the way each state was in each individual, in each of their own governments. They were a governing body. They were all sent here. Each one should go ahead and determine what they do, just like the states should and are denied today.
And as far as just finishing up so we can go home, hey, guess what? I'm really glad the men and the few women at Valley Forge did not have this attitude. We have it easy because we're not being shot at. Keep that in mind.
I do want to remind all delegates that when we have a amendment on the floor, that we want to be sure that all your comments are to the amendment. This gentleman wanted to be recognized.
Oh, Scott Bader, number 15, calling for the question.
Okay, the question's been called. I hear there's a second. No, I heard there was a second. Is there a third? The question's been called. All those in favor of calling the question signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. Okay, Michelle, you get to address the amendment in closing.
This actually was meant to allow some flexibility in the legislative district caucuses. Some of them are really large, some of them are small. Some of them might want to have a little more time. Some of them, might want to even make it less. So this wasn't done to try and make things take longer. It was done to try and actually allow people to speed it up if they like to, or if they have more time, to just take a little more time to let the delegates actually do their speeches. I think that the speech process, we all learn how to publicly speak. I mean, this is how I learned to publicly speak, was actually getting up in meetings and talking. And some people don't ever get a chance. And out of this pool of delegates may come our next great candidates. And so sometimes giving them a chance to actually speak on the floor is really a good thing. So I would support that. But also, this allows the legislative district caucuses to decide. Thank you.
Question's been called. We've had the closing. Now we'll vote. And I guess I'll need to reread it. Get your blue paper out again. Article 4, Section 6 would be changed to read, the chairman will call for floor nominations for state delegates alternates. After nominations have been requested 3 times without response, nominations shall be closed. The legislative district caucuses will decide speech's length. Balloting follows. All those in favor of the amendment to the rules signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. The noes have it. Is there any other debate or amendments? Chair recognizes this gentleman right here. Okay. The main motion to approve the rules of question has been called. Okay, point of information.
So if the 5th legislative district, which only has 5 candidates,
please identify yourself and precinct.
Philip Moxley, Local 209. If the 5th legislative district, that only has 5 candidates, and I think it sounds like they're the ones voting for this, has to change the rules. Does it take 2/3 vote, or can they change it with a majority vote?
Point of information requires that you ask a question specifically. So do you want to restate that? Well, you made a comment and...
Will the 5th legislative district have to take a 2/3 majority or a 50% majority to change the rules so that they can change the amount of time that they can give to the people that they're electing? The 5th legislative district only has 5 people to elect.
I want to make sure I understand your question. Your question is, do the legislative district caucuses have the ability to change the rules that are established in the general convention? Is that your question? No, they would not be able to do that because they're approved by the body of the convention. The question's been called and seconded. The chair recognizes Michelle McIntyre.
apologize. And first, Michelle McIntyre, ever 15, and I want to congratulate you, Jim, for winning the election as chair. And so far, you've done a great job. It's a great improvement over a few years ago. So I just want to thank you.
Please ask a question.
Okay. Actually, it's a point of order. In the rules and order of business, I believe there's been an oversight, and one of the items on the agenda, it was listed in the call as one of the main purposes of this convention, was once we elect our state delegates, we are to come together as a caucus for the state and elect our delegation chair and vice chair and representatives to the platform, credentials, and rules committee. And I'm wondering, I know we're going, in order to save time, could we make a motion or something, or can we just can you tell us what is going to be the procedure for making sure that delegation gets together and votes? Would it be another day, or would it be today?
Article 5, Section 1.
Okay, you're basically asking that once the state delegates are elected, when will they caucus to elect the chair, vice chair, rules, platform, and credentials committee? That is in our proposed rules, and that will take place at the end of the meeting today. If you recall, those of you that were here 2 years ago, the convention ran extremely long. We actually had changed the order of business. We wound up taking way too long to elect our delegates, and we had to have a separate meeting. I would love it as the permanent chair, although you're the body that controls this, that does not happen again this year. Okay, so we are now, the question's been called, and we are voting on to accept the rules as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye! Those opposed? We have a convention. Just a little bit, we're going to adjourn to our legislative district caucuses, but before we do that, I want to make some explanations so that everybody that is going to be running as a state delegate knows what the expectation of the state delegate is. All right? Again, at the end of the convention today, hopefully we'll be getting done on time, but that's entirely up to you. We will get our state delegation together and elect a chair, a vice chair, a delegate, and an alternate to each of three committees: the Rules Committee, the Platform Committee, and the Credentials Committee. I want to make sure that everybody that wants to be a state delegate knows the monetary cost of what they're doing. At a minimum, it will cost you $95 to go to the state convention. That's to pay for a basic registration. That will be true whether you are a delegate or an alternate. Now, if you want to go to any of the workshops, the banquet, some of the other activities that are going on, there will be additional costs there. We will have packets at the end of the day to give to state delegates. The other thing that you need to know, and I'll say this several times so that you be sure that you get it, if you are elected a delegate to the Washington State Republican Convention in Tacoma, you will have 10 days, that's 10, T-E-N-D-A-Y-S, 10 days to get your registration turned in from today. So you'll have 10 days from today, the day that you are elected, to get your registration in. That includes your form and at least the $95 registration fee. So I want to make sure that you understand that. If at the end of that 10-day period, it needs to be postmarked by 10 days, all right? Just so you know. And they're going to give you 5 extra days for the United States Postal Service to get it there. Should be longer. But you'll have 10 days to get it postmarked. If your registration information and your registration fee is not received in a timely manner, you will not be a delegate to the state, and an alternate will be moved to fill your position. Alternates will have until May 11 to
to get their registration material in, but they will be notified as to whether or not they're being moved up. So the alternates, you got a little bit of fudge factor there. But alternates, even if you're not moved up, you can still attend this convention, and you still should get your registration and your registration fee turned in. Right? Everybody got that? Okay. Somebody has a point of information. I'm assuming they're going to ask me a question about the state convention. Go ahead.
Is that 10 calendar days or 10 working days?
Thank you. It is 10 24-hour days. 10 calendar days. 240 hours from midnight tonight. All right. Any other, I'm going to open the floor. Any other questions about the state convention? Over here.
Meryl Shirey, Amendment 25. What are the dates of the state convention?
May 31st and June 1st are the actual convention days. You will need to be, it's a 2-day convention. Thank you for asking, I forgot that. It's a 2-day convention. It's a Friday and a Saturday, May 31st, June 1st. There are workshops on May 30th, right? They'll be in your registration materials if you want to take advantage of the workshops, okay? So, let's see how we did. How many days do you have from today to get your registration material and your registration fee sent in? All right. And if you're an alternate to the state convention, what's the latest that you're going to be able to get registered? May 11th. All right. Good. You guys are awesome. Another point of information. I'm assuming it's a question about the state convention.
Friday and Saturday is June 1st and 2nd.
Is there a way to force this to be wrong?
Let me ask Siri. You are correct. Why did I say it was May 31st? May 31st is when the convention center opens up. That day is workshops. The convention is June 1st and June 2nd. Credentialing starts at 9 a.m. on Friday, June 1st. Okay. Well, I'm glad you guys are keeping me honest here, too. So, when does the convention start? June 1st. Let's say it again. June 1st. When does it end? June 2nd. All right, great. Okay, so, one last time. Any questions on convention? All right, before I forget, whoops. Okay.
Sorry, everybody, but I got to know if we do have to pay the $95 is the minimum to start, and we have 10 days. If it changes, do we still only have 10 days to pay the difference? If it goes up, the $95 says it's going to be the minimum.
You need, if you're unsure about going to the banquet or doing any of the workshops, just at least get your $95 in on your registration.
So the $95
yes.
Goes up.
Yeah. If you're going to do I might as well, here, let's get it taken care of. I am prepared. Basic registration is $95. Registration for Friday and Saturday with the box lunches is $135. Registration for 2 workshops and a box lunch is $150. Registration 5 workshops and 1 box lunch is $170.
Up on a farm, and I remember when I was 8 years old, me and my dad would listen to Rush Limbaugh on the pickup truck driving around. I want to talk about winning, not this election, the general election. I want you to visualize Obama on the stage, embarrassed and flustered. I want you to think about Ron Paul embarrassing and flustering Obama. Real change. Imagine a constitutional law professor getting schooled on the Constitution. Thank you.
Okay. 44 Gary Nelson, entitled to 30 seconds. I took the microphone away from
anyone?
I'm very sorry. I think that, okay. All right, I need the tellers to come forward. I'm going to hand out the ballots, and then as you, once you get them, I will explain the process.